Hi guys, it's Kelly and I am back with another video for honeybee stamps. I'm super into this twofer situation right now. I don't really know why, but I can't stop myself from making two cards, it seems, whenever I sit down. Using lots of products today. So I'm using the Decal Edge Circles, High Honey Sentiment Set, the Cosmos stamp and the die, Birds and the Bees, and then the Bee Hive. This is normally, that's way more product than I normally use. But I thought that it would be fun to kind of do a, I don't know, I guess like one on the inside and one on the outside, just to kind of show you, like if you're a clean and simple stamper, like these things will work for you. And then if you're somebody who's a little bit more busy, or you like a more layered look, this will also work for you. So I kind of traced that die just so I could see where my stamping was going to be. For the card that is in set, I'm going to do the stamping of my scene in the background on a large piece of paper, this one, hello. And then on the other one, the one that's going to be popped up, I'm going to do it on the positive of the die. So yeah. I don't know, I just thought it would be fun. And like I said, I don't know, I think the last 3 videos I put up have been 2 cards. So I'm stamping out this tree branch. I'm using Gina K Amalgam ink because it is Copic safe, and I'm going to be doing lots of Copic coloring. Here I'm putting that die cut down, that way I don't even have to move my tree branch. Stamp positioners, so handy. I use the Misty, that is the one that I prefer, so just going to stamp that down, and I'm not putting a ton of pressure on the edges, so I don't have to worry about it like being darker than the other areas. I'm going to leave that circle in place to do the Bee Hive, which this Bee Hive is large. If you want a smaller one, there is a smaller one in the Birds and the Bees set, but I wanted it to look like it was like a close-up of the beehive and like some flowers. I wanted it to look like a close-up. So, and then you'll see like when we put the flowers on there, it gives a little bit of like depth perception, because one is stamped flat and then one is popped up. So we'll get there when we get there, like at the end of the video. I included a couple of these cute little bees. There are some tinier bees in the Birds and Bees set, again, to match the size of the hive. These ones are the bigger ones from the actual Bee Hive stamp set. I think that they're super cute, and I am just longing for spring, people. That is where I'm at. We're only halfway through February. I know that, but I also know, living in Northeast Ohio my entire life, that this is around about the time where I start really jonesing. Like, snow and cold is great for Christmas. I can pretty much put up with it through most of January, and then February hits and I'm like, when is it going to stop being cold? I am over this. And here I am in the middle of February, and in fact, I am over it. So very quickly, I'm erasing that line because I'm going to give myself a new one. This one is on the inside edge, and I want it on the, I need to create a circle, like a guide on the outside edge, so I know where to stop my coloring. Well, where to stop, it doesn't matter, I could color the whole thing, but so where I'm not wasting a ton of ink and all of my areas are still colored, basically. But anyway, I did want to mention that there is a sale going on at the Honeybee Stamp right now, the stamp store, because it's President's Day weekend. And so there's, I think it's 15% off. So if you're watching on YouTube, there'll be a link below for you to go check that out. I decided I was just really going to, I didn't want to cut masks for all the things, guys. And I know that sounds crazy because you know I love me a 1-layer card and I love me some masking. But I just really was not feeling it because I was already having to deal with the finicky things of the die cuts. And if you know me and you watch my videos, you know I don't love dealing with the finicky things. That's why most of my cards are 1 layer. So I'm just Copic coloring the background. I picked 3 colors, a YG01 for like the illusion of some grass or ground in the background. BG11 is my my mid-tone, so the one that's like my transition color. It's going to make them make friends. And then the B00 is the sky, which blends seamlessly into this BG11. I literally had to do no work whatsoever. And I'm just going to fill that whole area in on both of them, on the large well, it's not really large, it's an A2 size card. I don't know what I'm talking about, large. But on the full piece of, or the full card panel, maybe that's a better way to put it, on the full card panel, and then also on the die cut circle, I am coloring right over those bee wings because bee wings are transparent, so you would be able to see the color behind them. Moving on to the rest of the coloring. So if you have been following my videos, then you know that I had dinner the other night for Eric's birthday, for my boyfriend's birthday. I feel very, I don't know if it's just because I was married for so long or if I am just so old, but it feels very juvenile to me to say the word boyfriend. Oh, my boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? Not, and like, I don't want to diminish his role whatsoever because he's wonderful. It just feels very awkward for me to say. I'm adding some shading along the bottom edges of the branches of those trees, and then a couple of little just like squiggly lines to create a little bit of wood texture on this branch. And again, everything's going to be colored the same way, whether it's on the large panel or on the circle die cut, but there's just no reason to show it to you twice. So I did have dinner with his family for his birthday. His birthday actually falls on President's Day. And it went really well. So you guys know that I was a little bit scared going into it, just because I hadn't had to do it in a really long time. Oh, this is totally, by the way, this is overkill for these bees. You don't need this many colors to blend, but I was already using these colors for the flower. And so since I already had them out, I just went ahead and used them. You could probably just do like a Y02, a Y08, and a Y24 if you even needed a 3-color blend, honestly, because they're so small. But that's just me. I used 4 colors and I had the 4 colors out, and so that's what I used. So we went to a little Italian place, and I got to meet his aunt and spend a little bit of time with his cousin, and everybody was really lovely, and his family was very nice, and I probably had no reason to be as nervous as I was, but, you know, it's different, everything's different, and sometimes that can be a little bit scary, but that doesn't mean that different is worse or bad. It just means that I'm finding my new normal. And hopefully, you know, spending time with his family will be part of my new normal. So, like I said, I'm using the same color blend for these flowers. Adding some shading from the base of the flower out toward the middle of the petal, and then adding some shading from the edge of the petal toward the middle so that my highlight is in the center-ish. This just gives them a more rounded look. If you guys you know, typically watch my videos, you know that this is oftentimes how I color my flowers. It's just the way that I like to do it. If you like to do it differently, that's okay. That's not wrong or bad or whatever. It's just, again, here we go. It's just different. So the restaurant was very nice. And I want your opinion on this. So we went there, and first of all, can we just talk about, like, the waitress was super impressive. They have all of these different kinds of specials, and they're different. I think she said like 3 or 4 nights a week they're different, and she just, no piece of paper, no nothing, just rattled those bad boys off, and I was like, good for you. I remember I never waitressed. Never, because I was very self-aware, even at a young age, that I was the type of person who open mouth, insert foot, like I just said things. And so I knew I probably should not be in an industry where I was going to be customer service based, where they would require me to tell people things that would appease them and not tell them the truth. Because God just made me a truth teller. He just did. That's just what he made me. And I'm not very good at faking or pretending or any of those things. And I'm sure after all the time we've spent together on YouTube, that probably does not shock you in any way, shape, or form. But I remember her having to study. Where did she work at? I think it was Bob's Big Boy. They aren't even a thing up here anymore. I don't know if they are where you are. Before they were Bob's Big Boy, they were called something else. Shoney's, maybe? Ooh, I'm really dating myself. But anyway, so I remember her having to like study the menu to take this test, because you had to know all of these things on the menu and like what their sides were and what the toppings were. And I was just like, wow, waitressing is so much work, even just to look at it, and then like so much work behind the scenes. So if you are a waitress or have spent any time as a waitress, like, thank you so much for your service and being good at your job, because it is not easy. So anyway, but the one bad thing about our waitress was she was really slow. Like, I don't know where she disappeared to. Like, at some point, Eric asked for more water, and it was like 15 minutes. And like, it's not like, sometimes you can see them on the floor, like taking care of other tables and kind of catch their eye kind of thing. She wasn't even on the floor. Like, I have no idea where she was. And she was like that every single time. So, when we got coffee at the end of it, I put a lot of sugar in my coffee. I'm sure, yeah. Well, I think we've talked about this. Coffee flavored sugar water. That's my jam. And so I had asked for more sugar, and his family was kind of teasing me about my sugar intake. And I'm pretty sure she's like literally in the back picking like sugar cane because this is taking so long. Anyway, so we went there, and this is the thing I want your opinion on. So everybody's meal came with a salad, but I love wedge salad, like with the bacon and the blue cheese crumbles, and I just love it. It's one of my favorite things. And I typically get it when I go to like Fridays because they have one, but they have gotten rid of it, which makes me very sad. So if you are a person who works for Fridays, you tell them that I miss their wedge salad and I need them to bring it back immediately. But anyway, so we're sitting there, and I was like, oh, I have a wedge salad. That'd be amazing. So I order the wedge salad, and she's like, so you don't want the salad that comes with it? And I was like, no, thank you. I would like this wedge salad. And this wedge salad was $12. Okay, which I felt like was maybe a little pricey for a wedge salad, but I also know how much I love them, and that is what I wanted. It actually was like after I had my son, because you can't eat, I think it's soft cheeses. I know you couldn't eat blue cheese when you're pregnant, because it contains this bacteria called Listeria, and that can be bad for the baby. And so I could not eat it when I was pregnant. And that was like the first thing, as soon as like the first date night that we went out on, my ex-husband and I, after Peanut was born, I was like, I need this wedge salad. Like, we go into Fridays, I need a wedge salad in my life. But so I ordered it. It was $12. I did not get the regular salad. I ordered my meal, which was, what did I get? Chicken something. It was delicious. It tasted like liquid bacon, and that made me so happy. Like they just liquefied bacon into this sauce, and then they put it on pasta, and it was so good. But anyway, so then at the end of the night, like, and afterward, like, we ordered coffee, the whole deal, and I told you the waitress was taking forever. Well, I had a sitter. That was my situation. I had a sitter at home with Peanut, and I wanted to put him to bed. So I told her we'd be back around like 8:30. And so it was getting dangerously close. It was, I think, maybe like 10 after 8ish, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. And I didn't want to be rude, because obviously this is his birthday and I'm not trying to pull him away from his family, but also I want to put my kid to bed, and I have told this babysitter it would only be to such and such time. So at one point, his mother very sweetly is like, listen, if you need to go, it's no problem. Like, we totally don't mind. Understand you have a sitter, which I thought was very kind of her. And so I was like, okay, I guess we're going to go ahead and go. So I pull out, I think it was like $40 or something, and set it on the table. And immediately his family was like, no, we've got it. And I was like, oh no, please let me pay for my meal. And, they were like, nope. Like, his mom, it was very sweet. She's like, family rule, like, we pay for birthday dinners. And it was very, very kind of them. But then I felt like a huge jerk for ordering this $12 salad. Because, like, you guys, I didn't know that they were going to offer to pay for my meal. So can you tell me if they think I'm going to be a rude jerk? Because I don't want them to think that I'm a rude jerk. I was genuinely going to pay for it. I didn't know that they were going to offer to pay. And now I feel bad, basically, for being so extra and ordering this wedge salad that I really wanted and was super delicious. Anywho, I even offered to, like, after they wouldn't let me pay the bill, I was like, can I at least leave the tip? And they were like, nope. So anyway, when I got done with all of the coloring, I felt like the entrance, the doorway into the Bee Hive was not dark enough, so I went back and took that E44 all the way out to the edges. I didn't even talk about the coloring. I'm sorry. I was just like rambling about this dinner, and because I just feel bad. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like they're going to think I'm so rude. So I outlined all of my images like I normally do. I added a couple of little white gel pen highlights into the center of the flower, and then also onto the wings of my bees. I just did little like little commas, little C's on there to set their wings apart. And then I'm going to die cut these flowers out. The reason I didn't do more than one leaf over here on the right hand side is because I knew I was going to cut the other ones off. I knew I wouldn't be able to get that stem up very high. It would really just be the bloom of the flower. So now that this is all said and done, I'm like, okay, I'm going to start building this thing. And then I realized that I have not yet stamped a sentiment, which I don't know. I was like in like some alternate, probably just sitting there worrying about this wedge salad, right? Because I'm generally an overthinker. So I'm just going to put this here for placement. I don't want to stamp with that on the card because it's being adhered with foam adhesive. So that may keep me from getting good contact with the paper. So the first one, which is the one that is popped up, says just because. Isn't that cute? It's so cute. So that one's going to go just at the, well, they're honestly both going to go just at the bottom of the page. So this little just because one, well, and I guess I went with the sentiment because I thought like this would be a very good feminine or masculine card. Bees, feel like are pretty neutral. And then it's just like cute. It's all pretty neutral colors. And then this other one's going to say, hi, honey. Just because, like the little beehive. I just think it's adorable. I love cute things. I can't help it. So I'm going to stamp this down now because I was in the zone and not paying any attention to the fact that I was putting foam tape on the back of this. Don't do what I do. Do what I say. Don't stamp your sentiment. Sorry. Please stamp your sentiment before you put the foam adhesive on the back because it can create like this bumpy texture, which makes it difficult to get a good impression. So don't do that. So here's where I'm putting those flowers on, like we talked about, that I wanted it to be like a close-up, and with that flower being so large and in the front, it pushes the beehive into the background and gives a little bit of depth perception. In order for these to kind of stay in place, I've laid them out where I want them to be, and then I'm going to pull just part of the backing off of a couple of those little foam squares so that I can get them to stick to it. I went a little bit farther than I should have on the left hand side, and part of it did kind of stick, but again, it's not going to be a big deal. That's all going to be covered up. Then once I have this flipped over, I can go ahead and add the rest of the foam pieces to the areas that are going to be sticking out. So the butt of the flower, a couple of the leaves, you get what I'm saying. And then I'm going to start peeling off all of these little release papers for the foam. I really like putting my card, like my panels like this, on sideways. I just feel like it makes it easier for me to get it straight. I can look at it from the side and know that it's going on where it's supposed to. And then this is card number 1 done. This is obviously the little bit busier, more layered card. And then this one is the one layer seen on the die cut, and then that's just popped up just, right on the card base. So one's inset, and then the other one is popped up just on its own. I'm going to add some clear Wink of Stella to the bee wings, and then a little bit to that flower. And then those are the cards. So again, twofer. Those are both the cards. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.